Welcome back to Ultimate Combat Radio. This is Mike Stidham talking a little mixed martial arts, broadcasting live from Draper Days. And this segment is brought to you by Beehive Bell Bonds, because sometimes bad things happen to good people. Now, we've been talking a little bit about the trivia question. We still haven't gotten an answer yet. Brandon Kaiser fought in many MMA fights, and he had one controversial loss. We're looking for who that person might have been. And we're going to give away some competition MMA gloves courtesy of Aztec Highway. Now they're selling mixed martial arts gear, so it's kind of a perfect way to kind of get it out. We're going to give some free stuff away, and by answering the question, I'm going to give you the hint now. His first name was the same. He shared the same first name as Brandon Kaiser.
It's true.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Brandon, how do you like us talking so much about a fight you lost?
Oh, that's fine, Mike. I just any attention is good attention from me, you know.
All right. And I also want to bring up the poll question we've had going on for a couple of weeks. Utah's toughest fighter. And thus far, we have 0 votes for Chavez.
Well, what's the website? Because I know everybody's going to go there.
It's Facebook.com/Ultimate Combat Radio. Now, you're on Ultimate Combat Radio, and you're not even a friend of Ultimate Combat Radio.
Why have you not looked for me, the best pound-for-pound fighter? Why have you not friended me?
We should have sought you out?
Yes.
All right, well, join the program. Get your folks on the program, because right now it's a runaway. Joe Martinez is walking away with this thing.
Come on, guys. You guys got to get on there, and I want to see the Chavez fans pull this one off, too. So.
Besides yourself, Chavez, who do you pick?
Man, there's a lot of people with a lot of talent. Pound-for-pound fighter, I'm going to have to go with probably Rad.
Rad Martinez?
Yeah, he just got his shot now, and he's going to prove to everybody that he's got it.
Tell you what, I get chills up my spine when I talk about Rad Martinez. Yeah. I'm excited because I really think he's got such an upside, and he's strong up here, and he's a good-looking kid. It's going to be really exciting to watch what happens with him.
Yep.
And that is also who you picked, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, I'm the only guy on this poll that's voted for him, and yeah, he is my pick, and I stand by that pick. We've had a couple of other, on this poll question, you can add your own answers, and some person put Porter Rockwell on there. And I know Tim Goodwin, our guest on this segment, he said, that's my vote, man. I'm going with that, too.
Or Tandy. So there you go.
Yeah. Right, well, also, I think getting some big votes is your opponent, Cole Rose.
Well, he is a good fighter. I can't bash him. I can't say anything about that. I wouldn't take the fight if I wasn't going to put on a show for people, but like I said,
aren't you intimidated that you're losing?
Oh, no.
The poll?
Yeah, that's just a poll. You got to come out to the fight,
All right. Well, Ron Jeremy also made the
Nice. How many votes for Josh Berkman?
0.
All right. Well, add me to that one. As much as it hurts to say,
you gonna vote for Josh?
I don't see anybody beating Josh Berkman in his weight class.
Really?
Right now. Not in the state of Utah.
Well, all right.
I already threw Melendez and Jake Paul at him, and he beat them both. So what can you do?
I'm going to have to second that, too.
What about my friend right here? What about Jerome?
Jerome
already beat up Casey Skull, and let's be honest, Casey was beating the crap out of Berkman when they fought, and then some little weird things happened, but Casey almost had him submitted, right?
Anybody that can beat Casey Uscola has a shot at Josh Berkman.
I'll
give you that.
Thank you.
All right, well, I think the other top voters, really, Ron Jeremy really is up there, and Steve Seiler's getting some votes, and Kofi's got a few votes. And then Porter Rockwell's coming in a strong 5th or 6th place. But nobody so far has voted for Josh Berkman, and nobody's voted for Court McGee, which right now Court McGee is in the best position in terms of their landscape with MMA. I mean, he's on a winning streak. He's in the UFC, and so he's the guy really, in my opinion. Somebody's got to knock him off of there. Signing with who did Rad sign with?
He. Oh, man.
Bellator. Signed with Bellator.
He's going to call me out on that.
Well, Bellator's not the UFC, let's be honest there. So, but I did like Rad's statement. He said, look, I'll get there. I'm going to take my time and I'll get there when it's time.
He's got a lot of obstacles, too, that he's had to overcome. And, he's doing it as best he can. And I have no doubts with him either, so.
Well, let's shift gears here. Let's talk about my main man here, my Dr. Tim's chiropractic business. Tim, now I've injured my shoulder. And I was frustrated for weeks that I just wasn't seeing any progress. It was just getting worse and worse. And I text you and you said, get your butt down here and let's take a look at it. And I've just been so impressed with how you run your operation down there. And then I really feel like I'm on the path to recovery. And I realize obviously injuries take time to recover. So I'm following. Not blindly. I'm following, and I'm following faithfully. Let's talk about that injury for just a moment, and then what how is it common in this kind of sport?
We'll just talk it out loud about what you have. Mike has a separated shoulder, and that's that little.
Do HIPAA laws allow us?
I was just going to ask that.
As long as you were going to say okay,
I guess I can talk about it.
Fear of fate. Yeah, I got your permission. Right, sign this piece of paper right here. We're all right. No, AC joints, that little bump outside your shoulder. It's a very common injury when you extend your hand back, doing push-ups, doing dips, and it's just a common nagging injury.
Well, you did tell me like it was because of all that extra skin that my groin took up. It was kind of robbing my shoulder of all of its motion, right? Is that what
he wishes?
What you told me?
No, when you're looking at injuries, the thing I see, like the whole thing with fighting gaining so much momentum is a chiropractic dream sport. I mean, because most fighters do what? They work through it. And I think that's the biggest mistake you can make when you get these little nagging injuries. You think they're just going to go away.
It's interesting you say that because I talked to another chiropractor. He said, this sport has been the best thing for my business since rodeo.
Yeah, exactly.
Because rodeo guys have the same mentality. Let's just get on this big beast and ride through pain and injury. So, obviously I've been doing the wrong things. I've been still trying to train through this, and your advice is, hey, man, if you wanted to heal, you got to step out the gas.
Yeah. One of it is rest, and the thing I love to tell people is that, we're in 2011. My main guy that I follow happens to be on the Tour de France this year again, Jeff Spencer, the chiropractor, and he introduced a protocol called cold laser light. And cold laser light is one of those weird things. I'm shining a light on you. What the hell is going on?
Yeah.
We'll take a step back. When you look at injuries, you're dealing with bone, muscle, and nerve. Okay, most people understand chiropractic and bone. If the bone's out of position, we've got to address the bone and get the bone gliding and moving. Okay, so we're talking the spine there, extremities. We're dealing with bones too. Now, when we say muscle, that's pretty obvious. Most people say, "Oh, I pulled a muscle." When we talk about muscles, what do you do for it? If fighters, I tell you, the people that are listening right now, you can't ice enough. I should just be protocol that every time you leave after a training session, you should be icing sore joints. It's the easiest and cheapest thing you could possibly do. Bringing in tons of water and taking some proteolytic enzymes to fight inflammation is one of the amazing things you can do with muscles.
Yeah, what was that you had?
It was proteolytic enzymes, which is bromelain, and it helps eat up the inflammation without always taking over-the-counter medication.
Where do people get those?
Yeah. Proteolytic enzymes can be done at a number of different health food stores, so forth and so on.
But you carry it at your
I carry it at my office. I gave you a product called Zymex 2, which is from Standard Processing. But you just walk in and you say, want some natural anti-inflammatories. They're all over. And that'd be a great thing because, we look at building the perfect athlete. We'll jump back away from you. Physical, emotional, and chemical. Okay? Physically, all athletes, usually fighters, train hard enough. Okay? We talk chemical. What are you bringing in your bodies? I don't think most fighters are the nutrition. As you're getting into it, we're here with elite fighters. These guys are worried about the nutrition. But most fighters aren't bringing enough protein in their bodies. 1 gram of body weight per 1 gram of protein. So that means you need to be taking protein every 3 hours because you can only absorb 30 grams of protein per setting. So if you're bringing in the right amount of protein and you're tearing those muscles down, you'll build. But the moment you're trying to get in shape and you push past what you're bringing in is where the injuries occur.
How much protein is in a Bud Light Lime?
Bud Light Lime, if you add a chicken wing, you get 7 grams of protein.
Okay.
How about Coors Light?
Coors Light, chicken wing too there, all right? Or hot dog for you, all right?
Yeah.
So back on that, is the way I've done it. I've been doing this for about 20 years as an athletic trainer, massage therapist, and I found that when you're addressing the emotional side of it too is huge in fighting, you know what I mean? Because most people just constantly bang, 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 and to tell a fighter to step back and not train at that time and rest, well, what are you talking about? But resting is sometimes just as good as training because if you're fresh and ready to go, you're going to have less injuries.
When you say emotional, what are you talking about there?
Girlfriends.
Well, no, I'm talking emotional.
I agree.
It's a perfect example. We're sitting here talking about
married,
a loss.
You have no business fighting, right? You're already torn down emotionally.
You're broken.
Emotionally, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's a good punching bag. No, emotion's a
Unless
big
you have
part of it.
understand
I
behind
think
you.
a lot of in fighting, you psych yourself out. I came from the wrestling, and I've learned not to learn about my guy that I was fighting because it didn't do me any good. It was better to train as hard as you can, show up and fight your game. But this is also fighting to me is so much bigger than just in the match. It's being able to handle a loss and bounce back and get your game back together, or being rattled over something and not letting that throw you out of your game. So practicing being in balance and some rest and some meditation and some
So
stillness.
you suggest meditation. How do you practice being emotionally?
Well, you schedule it into your training time. Is it when am I going to sit still? When am I going to visualize? When am I going to meditate and get grounded in what I do?
Do you coach people through that kind of thing as well? Is that a part of your overall program?
Absolutely. I teach 6 things, okay? 1, you got to get body work done. And you got to address when we say bone, muscle, nerve. Nerve is the laser turning stuff on that is shut off. The second thing is you got to detox your body. You got to constantly be flushing out the inflammation. That's huge, okay? Drinking a lot more water. There's a number of different protocols. You said, could I fill this segment? I guess we could talk 4 hours on that deal. But detoxing is a huge part of a fighter. Third thing is the exercise. You got to be getting that proper exercise. And if you're having these nagging injuries, to find out, get with a trainer, get with me, get with someone that can teach you how to rehab that muscle back. So if you're not rehabbing the muscles and you're working around it, then that's where compensation comes in. Another one is nutrition. It's a big deal, especially with fighters where, just sucking a lot of weight, but nutrition's going to feed you. Next is positive mental attitude. Why am I doing what I'm doing? What am I focusing on? And the last but not least is sleep, still, and rest. You've got to be able to get that rest. And those are the 6 things you got to put together, because most people tell me, oh, I eat good or I'm training, but are you doing those other things? And I think that's how you become well-rounded as an athlete.
One piece of that puzzle missing is a major link, so you've got to have all of that.
I believe so. Of my years of seeing that training, you can't just leave one of those things out. You've got to keep them together.
As a fighter, are you doing all those 6 things, or is there something that, I know you obviously have a life, and so how easy is it to do all 6 of those?
Well, I actually, I quit working to see where fighting takes me, so, and I have, my wife that stands behind me and pushes me to do it, so I'm trying to get to the gym as much as possible. If I have other things that come up, there's no possible ways of me getting in there, but when I am there, I'm there from anywhere from 3 to 10 hours.
Well, what about the other ends, the aspects of it? You getting the right amount of sleep? Is your diet under?
My sleep, yeah, I'm getting enough sleep. My diet, I could definitely work on. I've never been one to really diet, but yeah, I could work on that, because even if I do go and eat Wendy's or something, I feel it. I really do. When I get in there and I start really pushing myself, I feel it quite a bit, and I know that that's one thing that I do need to work on, and I also need to work on, my nutritionist part, getting all this, the supplements and everything in my body that I need.
Well, Brandon, really quickly, we got to take a break. But as a coach, are you addressing all these issues, or do you feel like, look, fighters, you need to take care of your own nutrition, that kind of stuff, or how do you handle it?
For the professional fighters, we try and address as much of that stuff as we can, and I love what the doctor's up to here. I mean, that's so key, and it's so cool that you're working with fighters. I was telling Mike before, I went to a chiropractor, and he took one look at me and said, oh, you've been in a car wreck. I'm like, no, I do MMA. No, I'm pretty sure this was a car wreck. I'm like, have you seen what we do? And so it's, I really felt like he didn't relate to me at all. Totally. So it's awesome that you
and that's a great
like
point. So people listening that want to get out there is interview the doctor you walk into. That's what I tell so many people, because maybe you don't fit that doctor. Go in, sit down and talk to him and find out before you just get in and get body work going. And we're going to get something going through here for the gym that we can be a reference to help people that aren't around here, and where we could get some guys where some fighters could start going to. You mentioned that you're here with Mike's gym. We're going to give you 25% off at my office. So we're just trying to get it, because the fighting is growing leaps and bounds, and what a better way to get in shape and to keep kids from getting in trouble to get in it. And so we're going to try to bring it all to you, physical, emotional, and chemical.
Well, that is awesome. As a gym owner, what a great service we're offering our guys. So that's excellent. Where can they find you? Where's your place?
My place is right here in Draper. I'm Goodwin Chiropractic. You can check me out on the web. Tim Goodwin Chiropractic. Been in Draper for 12 years, right next to the Treehouse Athletic Club.
Very good. And I want to invite you to come back, because we got a lot more stuff to talk about. We just grazed over a couple of topics, and I want to have you come back on a regular basis if we could, because you're a wealth of knowledge.
We'd love to have a call in when people listening could call in and ask a quick question, because I know it would relate to a lot of people out there.
Very good. We'll do that next time for sure. Thank you so much, Tim. And we do have a winner on the trivia question. We've got a few people call in with that. So we're going to announce that when we come back.